Now we have the following question. The question says, which alkaline earth metal is located in period 3? Now, what are the alkaline earth metals? They are the group 2 element, group 2 element. And the only group 2 element here is what? Calcium and what? And magnesium. But then, which of them is located in period 3? The correct answer is magnesium. Calcium is not located in period 3. Now we can check that from our periodic table. Now these are the group 2 elements. Okay, these are the group 2 elements. Now this group 2 element, which of them is in period 3? The period is the one that runs horizontal. These are the period. Okay, the ones that run like this are the period. So these are the period. This period 1 is only hydrogen that is there. This period what? 2, and this is what? Period 3. Group 2 period 3 is what? Magnesium. So magnesium is the correct answer to that question. Now the next question is, which of the following is classified as a metal? The correct answer is what? Vanadium. Vanadium is classified as a metal. Why? Reason being that if you look at the periodic table also, vanadium is here. It is a transition word metal, and hence it is the correct answer. It's a transition metal and is classified as a metal. So that is the correct answer. Now the next question says, the atom having the valence share electronic configuration 4s2 4p5 would be in. Now the valence electron tells us the group number. Are we getting it? The valence electron tells us the group number of the elements. So when the energy level are the same, you sum up the number of electrons. So this becomes 2 plus 5, which is what? Group 7. Are we getting it now? It's a group 7 element. Then what period is it? What period is it? Is in period 4 because of the highest energy level. 4 is the highest energy here. So this is in period 4, group what? Group 7. Period 4, group 7. Now what kind of group 7? Is it group 7A or group 7B? We have two types of group 7. Now this element is in group what? 7A and period 4. Why is this 7A? The 7B are those ones that have the transition metals configuration and the rest. Those ones are the B. The transition metals, they are the one located in B. And this one does not have anything like what? A D orbital here. So the correct answer is what? Group 7. Transition metal, the one that have either D or what? F. Are you getting it now? So it is in group 7. It's group 7A. Now another way that you can know is whenever it ends in S and P orbital, it's in group what? 7A. Whenever it ends in P and S orbital, it's in group 7 what? A. P and it's in group A rather. Anyone that ends in S and P orbital is in group what? In group A. Now let's take the next question. The next question says, select the term best describing the series of elements. These elements, they are the D transition metals. You can find them in the periodic table here. This is the periodic table. You can see them here. These are the elements we are talking about here. Look at them: scandium, titanium, vanadium, chromium, manganese. These are them: manganese, iron, cobalt, nickel. These groups here, they are the transition metals and they are the D transition what? Element. So the correct answer is D transition element. The D transition element. Now you have the following question: which of the following elements has the largest atomic radius? Which of the following elements have the what? The largest atomic radius. Now atomic radius, it decreases across a period, and then increases down in group. Okay, decreases across a period and what? Increases down in group. Now lithium, sodium, rubidium, they are in one group like this. Are you getting it? With lithium on top. You can see that in our periodic table. These are the element equation. You have them: lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium. They are in one group arranged like this. Then you have the other one there, which is fluorine. Is at the other extreme, which is here, isn't it? Fluorine is here. So we'll come back now. So fluorine is somewhere around here in the same line as what? As lithium. Now across the period it decreases, right? So if across the period it decreases, it means that fluorine have the least atomic number here, atomic radius here, because it decreases. Lithium and fluorine are in one line, and since they are in one line, we can look at it from here. Look at it. This is lithium, okay? This is lithium, okay? Now you see lithium and fluorine are in one line. I will say it decreases. When something decreases, it means this one is the highest. This one reduce, and this one is what? Very, very what? Small. So between lithium and fluorine, lithium have the highest atomic radius as compared to fluorine. Now, so it means that this is already off. This cannot be the answer. Now we said it increases down the group. When it increases down the group, it means that the one under, if something increases, meaning if this one is 2, here will be what? Let's say 3. Here will be what? 4. It means that the one under have the highest, and so the correct answer is what? Rubidium. Now let's take the next question. Which of the following terms accurately describe the energy associated with the process? The energy associated with the process. Now the correct answer is the ionization energy. The energy that is required for an atom to become what? A positively, or to remove an electron from a neutral atom in order for it to become a positively charged ion, is the ionization energy. So that's the answer to that question. Now we have the question: the species that contain 24 protons, 26 neutrons and 22 electrons would be represented by the symbol. Species that contains 24 protons, 26 neutrons and 22 electrons will be represented by the following symbol. Now we have the first one, vanadium 53 plus. Then we have chromium 26. This is the atomic mass. Please take note. This is the atomic mass. Now the atomic mass of each of these elements will be stated. Now among the elements, the one that has atomic mass of 50 is not chromium, is not vanadium rather, but is what? Chromium. Chromium is the one that has atomic mass of 50. So now these atomic masses are approximate masses, okay? So vanadium is out. Now for an atom to have 24 proton, okay? Sorry about this. Don't know what's bringing this. For an atom to have 24 proton, it means that that atom has an atomic number of 24. It has an atomic number of 24. For an atom to have atomic number of 20, it means it has an atomic number of 24. Means it has an atomic number of 24. Okay, atomic number of 24. Now remember, for a neutral atom, the atomic number must be equal to the number of electrons. So automatically it must also have 24 electrons if it is neutral. But this case, it was given to you that is what? 22. It means that 2 electrons are no longer here. Are we getting it? It has lost 2 what? Electrons. Now when an atom loses electron, what will it become? It become positively charged. It means that the species will be having +2 what? Ion. Okay, so which of them has the +2 ion? Of course we know this one is out, then these other ones are what? Remaining. Now they told you that it has 26 neutrons, 26 neutrons, and then 22 electrons. Now which of these elements have 24 proton? 24 proton is the what? Atomic number for, is the atomic number for chromium. Chromium is what? 24. You can see it from the periodic table here. chromium is what? 24, which is the number of proton. We say the number of proton is the atomic number. So the atomic number for that there is what? 24. So it is the one that have 24. Hence, manganese is what? Out. And this one is also out. Now, this 50 here is the atomic number. Atomic mass. Atomic mass cannot be what? 26. Are you getting it? It should be what? 24. So the correct answer is 50 CrO2 what? B. And this is the correct answer. Okay? Because the number of neutron, okay? The number of neutrons plus proton, or we can say P plus N must be equal to the atomic number. Atomic mass rather. So in this case they gave you atomic mass of 50. Neutron was given to you as what? Or let's say proton is what? 24. Neutron was given to you as what? 26. 24 plus 26 should give you atomic mass of what? 50 and not 26. That is why this is correct instead of this. Now you know it. Now let's continue. Which of the following has the highest attraction for electrons in a covalent bond? For electrons in a covalent bond. Now, the only reason why bromine will undergo covalent bond is when it is bonded with itself, okay? And this case, their polarities are what? The same. Their strength, electronegativity for this is the same as the electronegativity for this. So this one will not have the highest for polarity. This is out. Now we are now going to look at these electrons. If you look at selenium, selenium is what? Is group 4, okay? Selenium is group 6 rather. Selenium is in group, or is it group 6 or group 2? Let's check our periodic table. Selenium should be in either in group 6 or in group 2. Okay, it should be in group 6. This is group 6. Okay, it's not there. Okay, this group 6 is there. Selenium is in group 6. Now, if selenium is in group 6, it means it has 6 valence electron. Okay, now the next one is germanium. Germanium is in group 4, and before it can bond, it must bond with itself. And the polarities, which is the electronegativity, is the same. When we talk about attraction, is the one that have the highest electronegativity. The electronegativity will be what? The same. Hence, germanium is out of the game. So we are left with selenium, then arsenic, and what? And bismuth. Now, this will form what? Ionic bond. Selenium will form ionic bond. Hence, is out. So we are left with arsenic and bismuth. Let's check the period that these two elements belong to. Arsenic and bismuth. Now they should be somewhere around here. This is arsenic in the periodic table, and then bismuth is somewhere around also. This arsenic, bismuth is somewhere around here. Bismuth is under what? Arsenic. And then you should know that electronegativity does what? It decreases as you come down the group in the periodic table. It decreases. So the one that should have the highest attraction should be, I think, arsenic. Arsenic should be the correct answer also. Arsenic should be the correct answer. So the correct answer here is what? Arsenic. Okay, arsenic is the correct answer. No. Now we have a list of elements here. So which of the following have the highest attraction for electrons in a covalent bond? Of course, we know that this element, if you look at their group number, this thing group, this group 4, group 6, group 5, group 5. Bromine is in group 7. This we have the what? The highest attraction because it has the highest electronegativity. Hence, that is the correct answer to that question. Okay, I think we've answered all these. Okay, let's continue. Now, the next one is, which of the following statement is wrong? The atomic weight of carbon is about 12. That is correct. The most stable ion of lithium is lithium plus. That is what? Correct. Why? Because lithium is a group 1 element, and all group 1 element must form 1 plus as what? The most stable ion. A phosphorus atom is larger than antimony atom. That is wrong. Why? Because phosphorus and antimony are in the same group in the periodic table. Okay, phosphorus and antimony are in the same group. This is phosphorus here and this is antimony here. Are you getting it? Now we said that the atomic radius along a group does what? Increases than the group. Are you getting it now? So antimony is supposed to have what? Higher atomic radius than phosphorus, because we say it increases than the group. So phosphorus atom cannot be what? Larger than an antimony atom. So that is wrong as an answer. And they say which of the following is wrong? Now because it is wrong really written, that should be the correct answer, because we are looking for the word wrong one. So the correct answer is this. Now let's continue. Which of the following properties of the alkaline earth metal increases going down the group except all of the following properties of the alkaline earth metal increases going down the group except? Now atomic radius increases going down the group, ionic radius increases going down the group, atomic mass increases, anything atomic at all, radius, size, mass increases, but the ionization energy does not what? Increases down the group. It what? Decreases down the group. Are you getting it? Okay, it also increases. Ionization energy, okay, decreases down the group rather. The ionization energy decreases down the group. So this is the one that is correct except this. The ionization energy, first ionization energy. Okay, which of the following is a positive charge? Correct answer is proton. We don't need to solve much here. Proton. Correct answer. Proton is positive charge. Anions are negative charge. Neutrons are neutral, and electrons are negatively charged. Atoms are atoms. Rutherford carried out an experiment in which a beam of alpha particle was directed at a thin piece of gold foil. From this experiment, he concluded that electrons are massive particles. No. The positive charge of an alpha particle, no. The positive charge part of the atoms are extremely small and extremely what? Heavy particle. That was the deduction of the Rutherford's experiment. Now we have, consider the species. We have zinc, arsenic, and what? Germanium. Let's look at them. Zinc 72, arsenic 75, and germanium 74. These species have the same number of electrons. Is that so? They cannot have the same number of electrons because their atomic number varies. So they cannot have the same number of electrons. Hence, this is wrong. They have the same number of protons. They cannot have the same number of protons because the atomic number what varies. We say number of protons is equal to the number of what? Electrons, and it's unique to every element. Are you getting it now? So these ones, they cannot have the same unless they are isotope, and in this case they are not isotope. Now the same number of neutrons, is that so? This is the same number of protons and neutrons. We say protons are not what? They cannot have the same number of protons, so this is wrong. The same mass number, of course, the mass numbers are already stated here, 72, 75, 74, so this is wrong. Now automatically the correct answer to this question is what? The same number of neutrons. Now how do we deduce the number of neutrons? The number of neutrons, we say proton plus what? Neutron is equals to the atomic mass. Now the number of proton, we need to know them. The number of atomic mass is 72 for the first one, which is zinc. Okay, so the number of proton is the atomic mass, the atomic number rather. Where's the atomic number for zinc? Is 30. So we come back to our chart here. It become equals to, if the atomic number is 30, it means the number of proton is also what? 30. So we have 30 plus n, and our n will be what? 72 minus 30. 72 minus 30 is what? 42. So it means that it has what? 42 neutron. Now for arsenic, the number of proton plus neutron also must be equals to 75, which is the atomic number. Now what is the number of proton for arsenic? The number of proton, or the atomic number for arsenic. This is arsenic. Arsenic is 33. Look at it here. 33 for arsenic. Okay, let me use something that will be visible. This is arsenic 33. Okay, now if arsenic is 33, it means that the number of proton is what? 33, plus the number of neutron will be what? 75 minus 33. 75 minus 33 is what? 42, isn't it? Because what we did here was, okay, let me show it well. What we did here was, this become nitrogen, the number of neutrons 75 minus what? 33, because we took this one from here to this position. So our n will be what? 75 minus 33 is what? 42. So this gives us 42. Okay, so all of them, they are having 42. Germanium is 32. That's the atomic mass, atomic number. So the number of protons also will also be what? 32. So we have 32 plus n will be equals to 74. Now if this one crosses to this side, becomes n is what? 74 minus 32, and that is equals to 42. So you see that all of them, they are having the same number of neutrons, and that makes B the correct answer. Now the next question says the neutral atom of all isotopes of the same element have. Now all isotopes have the same number of proton, but different number of neutron, and then different atomic mass or different mass number. Are you getting it? That is isotope. Isotopes are elements with the same number of proton or the same atomic mass, atomic number rather. They have the same number of proton, the same atomic number, but different number of what? Neutrons, and then different atomic mass or mass number. Okay, so these two are different. Why this one, they are what? The same. Proton and atomic number, they are the same. So we have different number of protons. That is wrong. They have the same number of protons. Equal number of neutrons. That is wrong, because they have different number of neutrons. The same number of electrons. Now the number of proton for every neutral atom must be equal to the number of what? Electrons. So if the number of proton is at the same, it means the number of electrons will also be the same. So this is correct. The same mass number, no, we say different mass number. So this is wrong. The same masses, this is wrong. So the correct answer is what? Option B, the same number of electrons. Now we have the next question. It's a calculation question. Now the next question says, what is the atomic weight of a hypothetical element consisting of two isotopes, one with mass 64.23 and one with mass that? Now notice something. The percentage abundance abundance of all isotopes must be equal to 100%. Okay, let's say sum of the percentage abundance of all isotopes must be equal to 100%. Now they gave you isotope A. Let's say isotope A, the atomic mass is what? 64, or the isotopic mass 64.23 AMU with percentage abundance of 26.0%. Now they gave you isotope B with atomic mass of what? 65.32 AMU with atomic mass of what? X is unknown. But we say sum of all the isotopic mass must be what? 100. So to get this, we say the sum of 26% plus the unknown, which is X, must be equal to what? 100%. So our S will be what? 100% minus 26%, and S will be equals to 100 minus 26 is what? 74%. Okay, so the isotopic mass of this isotope is 74%. Okay, now how have we gotten 74%? How do we get the atomic weight? Now the atomic weight, let me write it here. The atomic weight is the sum of the fractional abundance times the isotopic mass. The sum of the fractional abundance times what? The isotopic mass. Now what is the fractional abundance? Fractional abundance is what? Percentage what? Abundance over 100. So for isotope A, let's take isotope A. The fractional abundance, percentage abundance is what? 26 all over what? 100 times the isotopic mass is what? 64.23. This gives us 0.26 times 64.23, and that will give us 16.69. Okay, so here becomes 16.69. Now for isotope B, let me rule it out. For isotope B, it will also be, what's the isotopic mass or the percentage abundance for isotope B? 74 divided by 100 times the isotopic weight is 65.32. when you punch it to your calculator, is 0.74 times 60, okay, divided by 100, okay, times 65.32, and this gives us 48.33. so this equals to 48.33. now what do? It will be the mass of A plus that of what? B, because we said the summation. So it becomes 16.69 plus 48.33, and that is equals to 65.02, which is 65.02, and that is the answer to that question, 65.0 AMU. Let's take a look at this question. What is the frequency of light having a wavelength of? The wavelength is 4.50 times 10 raised to the power of minus 6 centimeter. Now, first of all, you must convert this wavelength to meter. Now, to convert this wavelength to meter, it becomes 4.50 times 10 raised to the power of minus 6 divided by 100. And this will give us 4.50 times 10 raised to the power of minus 6 minus 2. And this becomes 4.50 times 10 raised to the power of minus 8 meters. Now, why is it like that? Because this 100 is still the same thing as 10 raised to the power of what? 2. If these two crosses up, it becomes what? Minus 2. So that was how we got this. Now, we are asked to calculate the frequency given the wavelength of light. Now, we know that V is equals to what? F lambda. Where C is F lambda also. Now, our lambda will be what? To get F, divide both sides by what? Lambda. So lambda cancel lambda. Your F is what? C over lambda. C is the speed of light. Speed of light has a constant of 3.0 times 10 raised to the power of minus 8 meter per second. So this becomes 3.0 times 10 raised to the power of minus raised to the power of 8 meter per second divided by your lambda is what? 4.50 times 10 raised to the power of minus 8. And when you calculate this, what is it going to give to you? If we give you, this gives you 3 times 10 raised to the power of what? 8 divided by 4.5 times 10 raised to the power of minus 8. And that is what? 6.66. Okay, 6.67 times 10 raised to the power of 15 per second. So this becomes 6.67 times 10 raised to the power of 15 per second. So that is the answer to this question. Now the next question says, the emission spectrum of gold shows a line of wavelength 2.6. The wavelength is given as 2.676 times 10 raised to the power of minus 7 meter. How much energy is emitted as electron falls to the lower energy level? How much energy? Now the energy is equals to hc over lambda, which is h over h what? Our energy is h times the frequency, but we know that v is what? C, which is the speed of light. C, which is the speed of light, is what? F lambda. Okay, C is F lambda. So if C is F lambda, it means that our F will be C over lambda, and we can substitute for E. So if E is equals to H F, it means in place of F we can put C over lambda. So E is what? AC over lambda. Now working with this, E will be equals to 6.6. The value of C is our Planck's constant, and the Planck's constant is 6.63 times 10 raised to the power of 34 joule second times the speed of light. Speed of light was given by 3.0 times 10 raised to the power of 8 meter per second is a constant, divided by our lambda. Where's our lambda? It's 2.67 times, or 676 times 10 raised to the power of minus 7. When you put this into your calculator, what are you going to have? You have 6.63 times 10 raised to the power of 34 times 3.0 times 10 raised to the power of 8 divided by 2.67 times 10 raised to the power of minus 7, which is 7.44 times 10 raised to the power of minus 29 or so. Okay, maybe there's a mistake somewhere around here. Okay, this is minus 34, not 34. It's supposed to be minus 34. So our answer will be, if we change this one to this, becomes 6.63 times 10 raised to the power of minus 34 times 3.0 times 10 raised to the power of what? 8 divided by 2.676 times 10 raised to the power of minus 7. That will give us 7.43 times 10 raised to the power of minus 19. So this gives us 7.43 times 10 raised to the power of minus 19 joule. So this is the correct answer to this question. Now, which of the following responses contain all statements that are consistent with the Bohr's theory of the atom and no other? And no other. Which of the responses contain all the statements that are consistent with the Bohr's theory of the atom and no other? We have 1, 2, 3. Now, the first one says an electron can remain in a particular orbit as long as it continuously absorbs radiation of definite. No, it must not remain in that orbit. If it absorbs radiation, it will be promoted. Now, the lowest energy level orbiter are those closest to the nucleus. That is correct. Now, an electron can jump from K, which is equals to N is equals to 1 major energy level, to M shell, N is equals to, by emitting radiation. No. If it is jumping from a lower energy level, N is equals to 1, to a higher energy level, N is equals to 2. It does that by what? Absorbing radiation. Okay? So, the only correct option here is what? 2, which is 2 only. Okay? The Heisenberg uncertainty principle states that it is impossible to determine accurately both the position and the momentum of an electron what? Simultaneously. That is the correct answer. Next question. Which statement about the 4 quantum number which describes electron is incorrect? Now we have the first one. The principal quantum number n is equals to 1, 2, 3. That is true. The principal quantum number is designated by what? N. And n can have values of what? 1, 2, 3, etc. Now, B says ms is the spin quantum number and ms can have a value of plus half and minus half. That is also what? Correct. These are all correct. Now, we have L is the azimuthal quantum number and it has values of L is equals to 1, 2, 3 to n plus 1. Now, this is what? Incorrect. L is azimuthal quantum number and is represented with n minus 1. L can have value of 0, 1, 2, 3, continues like that to what? N minus 1 value, not n plus 1. It starts from 0. Hence, this one is incorrect. Of course, this one is correct. The azimuthal quantum number is represented with ml and it has value of minus l through 0 to what? Plus l. So the correct answer to this question is what? Option C, which is incorrect. Which of the following is spherical in shape? 2s. The s orbitals are spherical in shape. S orbitals are spherical. We said p orbitals are what? P orbitals are dumbbell. Dumbbell. D orbitals are double dumbbell. Double dumbbell. And then the f orbitals are complicated. they have complicated shape. Okay, have complicated shape. Now that is that for that question. Now the next question. The ground state electronic configuration of arsenic is. Now what is the atomic number for arsenic? Arsenic is 33. So let's go back again. If arsenic is 33, the electronic configuration will be, we say we start with 1s, 2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, 4s2, 3d10. How many now? 1, 2, that's 12, 18, 20, 26, 30. After 3d10, what is the next? Is 4p. So we have 4p3. That's the electronic configuration of arsenic. Okay, now if this is the ground state electronic configuration of arsenic, which of them here do you think have that electronic configuration, or that complete electronic configuration for arsenic? Is there any element here that has that? Is there any element that has that? Let's check it again. Arsenic, atomic number for arsenic is 33. Yeah, it's 33. So let's come back here. Now here is supposed to be 3, not 13. Okay, 4p3, not 4p13. Now which of them is the electronic configuration for argon? Argon in the periodic table, which of them is the correct electronic configuration for argon? Now argon has 18 electrons. Okay, argon has 18 electrons. Then if you add 18 plus 2 is how many? 20 plus 3 is 23. Okay, now that is the electronic configuration of arsenic here. Now we are going to look at the periodic table. Which noble gas has the is closest to arsenic? Is argon. Okay, argon is the noble gas that is close to arsenic. But then argon that is the noble gas close to arsenic, if you look at the number of electrons, or the number of electrons after arsenic, after argon, is about, you have about, that argon is 18, so we have about 18 plus 18 plus what will give us, that is in 33 minus 18. 33 minus 18, I think that will give us 15. So we have about 15 more electrons to get to this. So I don't think any of the options here actually fit into the electronic configuration for arsenic. There was a mistake here. Here is supposed to be 3d10, okay, and then 4p3. 3d10, 4p3, and that is the answer. 3d10, 4p3. That's the answer. Sorry for that. Now let's look at the next question. Which of the following electronic configuration is correct for nickel? Now what is the atomic number for nickel? Let's come back to our periodic table. Nickel is what? Is 28. This nickel here is 28. Okay, now if nickel is 28, it means it has 28 electrons. Now writing the electronic configuration, it becomes 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6. These are many now. 4, 10, 3p6. Then we have 3. After 3p6, then we have 4s2, which is how many now? 10, 10, and then 3d8. That's the electronic configuration for arsenic. But then from here to here is the electronic configuration for a particular element, and that element is argon, which is about 18. This 2 plus 2 plus 6 plus 6 is 18. Okay, so that element is 18. So argon is 18. In the condensed form, we can put argon in the bracket, and the here becomes 4s2, 3d8. So the correct electronic configuration is this. That's the answer. the outer electronic configuration of ns2 np4. Now since n and n are in the same energy level, what do you do to the power? You add the number of electrons. So 2 plus 4 is what? 6. It means that the electron is in group 6. Now which of the electron is in group 6? Arsenic is not in group 6, group 5. This is in group 2. This is not in group 6, this is in group 7, and the only element in group 6 is what? Sulfur. So sulfur is the correct answer to that question. Now in the ground state cobalt atom, there are dash unpaired electron and the atom is said to be dash. Now what is the atomic number for cobalt? What is the atomic number for cobalt? Cobalt is 27. So let's write the electronic configuration for cobalt. If we write the electronic configuration for cobalt, since you said it's 27, cobalt, we write it as 1s2, 2s2, 2 pieces, 3s2, 3 pieces, 4s2, and 3d7. I think this is the electronic configuration. Now from here to down like this, all these ones, they are completely filled. Are we getting it now? So we only look at the one at the valence electron, the valence orbital. Now we say the d orbital can accommodate a maximum of electrons 10, and it has how many suborbitals? 5. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and what? 5. That is d orbital, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, and what? 5. Then how many is remaining? Fit singly before pairing, 6, and what? 7. So this is the d orbital that we just filled, okay, for d7. So this is d7 electronic configuration. Now how many electrons are unpaired? It has 3 unpaired electrons. Now when an atom has an unpaired electron, that atom is said to be paramagnetic, okay? The atom is said to be paramagnetic. So it has 3 unpaired electrons and is what? Paramagnetic. Now we have the next question. Says how many p electrons are there in an atom of rubidium? Now what you must do to actually know this question or solve this question is know the atomic mass, atomic number of rubidium, which is 37. Now if the atomic number of rubidium is 37, so rubidium 37, the number of electrons is also 37, okay? Rubidium. Now let's write the electronic configuration. What will it be? This is 1s, 2s, 2p, 3s, 3p, 3d, then 4s, 4p, 4d, 4f. Then we'll have 5s, 5p, 5d, 5f. Then we'll have 6s, 6p, 6d, 6f. Now what we do is we take our values diagonally, and then let's write that now. So we have 1s 2, 2s 2, then 2p what? 6, 3s 2, 3p 6. After 3p, what do we have? 4s. After 3p, 4s 2, 3d10. How many now? That is 30, I believe. 10, 20, 30. After 3d10, what do we have? 4p, 4p6, then 5s 1. That's the electronic configuration of rubidium. Knowing that the s orbital can take how many electrons? 2 maximum, p can take 6 maximum, d can take 10 maximum, and f can take 14 maximum. Okay, now how many p electrons are there in the atom? Number of p electrons, here there are 6 plus another one 6 plus another one what? 6. So in total there are 18 p electrons. 18 p electrons. A neutral atom of an element has 2 electrons in the first energy level and 8 electrons in the second and 8 in the third. So we have 2, 8, 8. This information does not necessarily tell us the dash. It tells us the atomic number. It means the atomic number is what? 18 by adding all of them together. Now it tells us the total number of electrons in the what? In the s orbital. That is true. It tells us the total number of electrons in the s orbital. Now anything about electrons gives us anything about electrons in the what? Orbital. Now anything about the element chemical property, yes, the number of electrons tells us the chemical property, and also the valence electron is what is responsible for the chemical reactivity. Now this is a noble gas, and hence the reactivity of a noble gas will be dependent on this. The total number of electrons in the p orbital, yes, it tells us about that. Now the number of neutrons in the nucleus of an atom of an element, it does not tell us anything about the number of what? Nucleus, but it gives us information about every other thing present here. Now the valence electron of representative elements are in the s orbital only. No, they are both in the s and what? P. Located closest to the nucleus, located in the outermost occupied major energy level, they are the one located in the what? Atom. That's why they call them what? Valence. Valence is the one located in the outermost energy level. So that is the correct answer. Which of the following pairs of elements and valence electron is correct? Is incorrect. I've given you the valence electrons of the elements. Now aluminium is 3, that one is correct. Bromine is 7, that one is correct. Strontium is 2, this one is 3, but sulfur is 6. Sulfur has 6 valence electrons, hence sulfur is wrong, incorrectly matched. With regard to the species, which of the following statement is correct? Now this species that is given to you, they all contains 10 electrons. Is that true? Yes. Oxygen normally contains 8 electrons. The 2 negative there means what? It has gained 2 electrons, which means it contains 10 electrons. Now fluorine contains 9. That minus there means it gains 1 electron, meaning it contains 10 electrons. Now neon contains what? 10 electrons. Okay, so the correct answer is all 3 species contain 10 electrons. Okay, that is the answer to the question given there. It contains 10 electrons.